We are going to try something a bit wild today. Justin continually tells me, kid, you need to loosen up. You need to widen up.
Alert the media! Corey's not playing like a nit. This behavior's unheard of. He's unhinged. Has to be on drugs.
Instead of waiting for the stone cold nuts and just being able to flop over a full house, let's see if we can win without the cards, if you get what I'm saying. I want to play my range, not necessarily my exact holding.
Basically what I'm saying, bluff more frequently, open wider, and not play like an absolute nit. We hop into the 1-3 game, lowering the stakes just so I can experiment a bit more, dipping my pinky toe in the water instead of diving headfirst and crushing my bankroll. As soon as I sit down across from us, there are perfect subjects for this experiment. Old, nitty grandpas. Perfect. In the first hand of note, we have ace-jack off under the gun. 8-handed, this is normally a fold for me. And it's also GTO. This is supposed to be a fold, but we're playing a loosey-goosey 7-deucey. I raised it up to $12. The player to my left and the hijack make the call. We're going 3 ways to a flop, which comes queen, 5, 8, 2 clubs. I'm out of position, and all of the cards on this board are black. I'm holding red. That doesn't seem to be a formula for success. So I check, and action checks around. We're going 3 ways to a turn card, which comes the 9 of spades, introducing a second flush draw. I don't think a bet is right here, because if we bet, we obviously want folds. And there's so many available draws, even a pair would probably call us at this point. I check, under the gun 1 bets 25, and we fold. Here we look down at 8-7 of clubs. Under the gun limps. I raised it up to $15, and the small blind and under the gun call. Flop comes 8-jack-jack, rainbow. We have a pair that could use a lot of protection against overcards, and 9-10s available, so let's try to get some value. I bet $15, and all thoughts of value fly out the window because we get check raised to $55, and we have a straightforward fold. This hand review history feels like a 1950s classroom because there's not a lot of diversity. We pick up 8-7 of diamonds again. Low jack limps. I raise up to $15. Big blind and low jack make the call. We're going 3 ways to a flop, which comes queen jack 5 rainbow. This time I size up to $20 because the board's a bit more connected, and only the big blind makes the call. Turn is an interesting one. It's a jack of diamonds, introducing a backdoor flush draw. The big blind checks it over to me again, and I have 8 high, which is presumably not good. The only way for me to win this hand is if I bet it. I throw out $50, and luckily the big blind lets his cards go. I actually don't like this play because I check back aces, kings, even ace-queen, all of those hands I'm checking here. So for me to lead, it doesn't make much sense. This is 1-3 though. The collective IQ in these stakes is often equivalent to a failing toaster oven, so I think we're fine. Early on in the session, we pick up a premium. 8 deuce of spades in the big blind. There are 4 limps to me, and I check my option. Crazy that I didn't isolate this one. All you need to know is someone bets on the flop, we call, other people call, turn checks through, river, we get like $0 of value because I check out of position to 3 other people thinking someone's gonna bet. No one bets, they're all nits. Fuck them, fuck your mother, just kidding. Shout out Ryan DePaulo, everyone's mother's getting banged. I didn't expect it to check around twice. We have to do the betting. Donk mode engaged, let's get it on with it. Next we pick up an actual premium in pocket queens. I raise it up to $12, and the button makes the call. Flop comes 10-9-7. This is a board that heavily favors my opponent's range, and honestly, I should check this. But I see bet $15, and the button makes the call. Turn pairs the middle card, which is a 9. Not a great card for us, and much better for my opponent. This time, I slow down and check it. The button does not check it back, and instead fires out $45. Okay. I know in theory this is a straightforward call, but speaking from personal experience, when I played these stakes, I was never comfortable betting anything over $15, and this is a large bet compared to the size of the pot. It just felt incredibly nutted coming from a recreational player. Listen, I just get the vibe on who's recreational, who's pro. These guys, I felt like watched football and ate popcorn on a Sunday. They weren't grinding out 2-5, 5-10, 10-25. You know what I'm saying? This guy betting out $50, alarm bells are going off. Like, leave the fucking school. It's about to burn down. That's the vibe we're getting. So, I know I have pocket queens. I don't think there's a universe where I'm ahead against this particular player. Might sound crazy. I know theoretically it's a call, but I fold my cards, and I am quite confident that it's the right play. Wait 2 or 3 hands, and you'll see what I mean. Next spot, we have ace-9 offsuit in the hijack. Again, this is just a normal standard fold, but I raise it up to $12. Both of the blinds make the call, and we go 3 ways to a flop, which comes ace-5-3, 2 clubs, and a heart. A nice flop for us, as we don't have a club, and we have top pair. So when it checks to me, I'm going to bet for value. I throw out 3 red chips, and the small blind thinks that's a fair price to continue. Going heads up to a turn, which is the 6 of hearts. Another card that shouldn't change much, except it introduces a second flush draw. Small blind checks to us again, and if the small blind had 2 pairs or sets, I think we would have heard about it on the flop with a lot of draws available. Since he checked, call, checked, I'm confident we have the best hand. I throw out $40, targeting flush draws. This time, the small blind folds. Here we have jack-9 offsuit in the low jack. Under the gun 1 limps, and I would normally fold this. For that reason, I raised to 15. The hijack, cutoff, and under the gun 1 call. So we're going 4 ways to a flop, which I feel like I'm in Arizona because this flop is just dust. I check. The hijack throws out $50. I am so out of here. My God, I cannot run away from this flop fast enough. You might see a common trend here. The players are betting very large sizes when they probably have a really strong hand. These sizing tells are something I pick up on, and it makes it much easier for me to get away. I'm like, oh, okay, you're going to check for 3 hours, show no aggression, and then overbet the pot? Yeah, okay, I fold. You know? Just figured I'd point that out. Let's move on. We are getting smacked by the deck with premiums today. Here we pick up king 3 of hearts in the small blind. The cutoff raises to $10, and this is a clear GTO fold. For that reason, I call. Big blind comes along as well, so we go 3 ways to a flop of king 4-3, 2 spades and a diamond. Oh, heavens almighty, let's go. This is a great board for us because there are many draws available, and if the cutoff has ace-king, we're probably going to get all the money in here. I set the trap and check. Our plan works out perfectly as the cutoff c-bets $20. Let's get the money in the middle. I check raise to $75. The cutoff looks perplexed. He is not a happy camper. Oh, shit. Never mind, maybe I'm playing with Leonardo DiCaprio, because this is potential Hollywood, baby. The cutoff jams all in for like $200-something. I beat him into the pot, could not call quicker, and we go heads up to a run out. Run out looks clean. The cutoff announces 1 pair. That I can beat. I table my hand, and we take down a massive pot. I can't tell you how many hands I played in the first 30 minutes. I think I opened 50% of the hands every orbit. King 7 offsuit, King 9 suited, Jack 10 suited, Jack 9 off, Ace 9 off. Literally, if I'm in late position, I'm opening 50 to 60% of my hands here. Normally, 1 or both blinds call. We'll go to a flop, I'll c-bet, they fold, and I pick up, $7, $12, $15. This instance is no different. We're on the button with Jack 10 of clubs. I raised it up to $12, and only the big blind calls. Flop comes Ace, Queen, 6, rainbow. We have a gut shot to the nuts and a backdoor flush draw, so when the big blind checks to me, I throw out $10, and he folds. Another small pot, but these add up significantly over the course of a session, and this is really where the money is going to be long term. Here we have 7-5 of clubs in the small blind. Straddle is on, and action folds to me. We're in the worst position possible with an iffy hand that should just be a fold. I think you know where this is going. I raise the $15, and only the straddler calls. The flop
Holy actual shit. 6-4-3 rainbow. We flop the nuts. By this point in the session, the straddler didn't believe me at all. I kid you not, I've played 30 or 40 hands at this point in such a short frame. Why would he ever believe me? Anyways, I c-bet $10 and the straddler makes the call. The turn is not a great card. It's the 3 of clubs, pairing the board. However, I don't think this is a huge issue, as we're still ahead of a ton here, and if my opponent had sets of 6s or 4s, I think we would have heard about it on the flop. My opponent has around $100 behind. I want to set up a sizing that I can easily get all the money in on the river. I bet $30, and he snap calls. Seems our credibility is tarnished as we head off to a river, which double pairs the board. It's the 4. Oh gosh, that's actually kind of ugly. Now we lose to any 4 or any 3, which could he have those? Yeah, he certainly could, but I think it's more realistic that our opponent has 7s or 8s, or a hand like 6-7, 8-6, just a one pair holding that really doesn't believe me and thinks I have ace high. I don't want to check and have this player check back and we flip over our hand and he has like 8s.
That would make me want to walk out of the casino and jump into oncoming traffic.
I'd rather jam, and if we lose to a better hand, so be it, nice hand, let's move on. So I stick it all in there, and he immediately calls. Well, that's probably not a good sign. I table my hand, and the straddler mucks. Not the greatest run out, but our hand holds up, and we take down another nice pot. The next shuffle, literally 30 seconds later, we have 9-8 offsuit on the button. Action folds to me, and I open it up to $12. Both of the blinds make the call, and we go 3 ways to a flop of queen, 5, 6, all hearts. Action checks to me, and I don't have one of those. I also don't have a pair. I'm gonna check. The turn pairs the queen, and action checks to me once again. Okay, we don't have anything, so I check it back. The river brings the 7 of spades. Oh my goodness, we're running hot. Action checks to me a third time, and I'm definitely going to go for value here.
Since action is checked around 3 times, no need to go too big.
I bet $15. The small blind calls, and the big blind also calls. I flip over my hand, thinking I'm good. Wait a second. Oh my gosh. The small blind has ace-8 for a flopped flush? And he didn't bet it once? This is the same guy who led for $45 on the pocket queen's hand, and then he checked the nuts 3 times.
And he bet $50 into 64 on the flop, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say good fold us.
2 suited cards with a king. Sounds good enough to me, let's go. I raise the $12, and the player to my left makes the call. Flop comes ace-ace-8. I c-bet $10, he folds. There was a lot of this going on today, just figured I'd throw this in here. At this point, our stack is sitting at $949. We are in for $300, so we are sitting quite comfortably. We're playing okay, but overall, I think we're just running hotter than the sun.
Here we have pocket 2s on the button. I raised up to $12, and the big blind makes the call, and checks dark, saying this.
I checked.
I don't know if you heard that, but he said c-bet incoming, which, I mean, yeah, we have pocket 2s, flop comes ace, queen, something. I do c-bet $10, and this player makes the snap call. I have zero credibility against this guy. When the turn does not improve us, I just have a hunch, a mere feeling that he's not going to fold to a bet. So I decide to check it back. River comes God knows what. He throws out a bet, and I fold. Nice hand, sir.
I think this next hand might be the most interesting one from the vlog. We have ace-10 of clubs on the button. Under the gun min raises to $6, and then plus 1 3-bets to 15. What's going on? I make the call. Small blind and under the gun come along for the ride as well. We're going 4 ways to a flop, which comes 8-5 deuce rainbow.
Action checks to me. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, small blind is the only player I'm worried about. Under the gun and Under the Gun 1 probably have 2 face cards that didn't connect. This board is theoretically much better for my range, so I'm going to take a stab at it. Into 3 players, probably not the best play. What can I say? I'm an ambitious man. The ambitious man bets $25, and only Under the Gun 1 calls. The turn is the 9 of spades. +1 checks it over to me with around $220 behind. In this moment, I thought he had jacks through kings. And I asked myself, will he fold to a turn bet plus river jam? I don't know. This is the first hand he's played in an hour. I just don't see this particular player ever folding an overpair. I give it up and check it back. However, that all changes when the river is the 6 of clubs. Under the Gun 1 now leads for $40. Ugh, everything in my body wants to pull the trigger and just go all in here. He is 180 something behind. Oh my gosh, this board is so strong for my calling range, and it really doesn't make sense that the early position 3-better is leading out on this river card. I'm up like $650. I don't really want to punt off $200, lose a good margin of my profit, and then just be miserable that I bluffed off here. Then again, the board's so good for me. Oh, I really wanted to pull the trigger here. I put my tail between my legs and fold. Moving on, we pick up pocket jacks under the gun. I raised up to $12, under the gun +1, and low jack make the call. Flop comes 8-5-3 rainbow. We're out of position, and this board doesn't connect with my range much, so I'm normally checking this 100% of the time. I think a check is the best play. In this case, I bet $15, and Under the Gun 1 calls. Then the low jack raises to $45. Yikes. This is a rainbow board, and there are not many bluffs here that the low jack can have, but this is the same player that I have seemingly had his number all day. That comment that he made last hand is in the front of my mind. Maybe he just thinks I'm c-betting every hand and that I have absolutely nothing. Maybe he has 6-7 or 6-4 and is semi-bluffing with an open-ended straight draw. That's really the only thing that I think he's bluffing here with. This is why I like a check call way better, because any amount that the low jack bets, I can call. But now, what is he ever raising with, you know? I get curious and stick in the call. Under the gun +1 makes the fold. Turn comes the 2 of clubs. I check, and the low jack goes all in for $104. Oh no. Even one of the hands that he was semi-bluffing with on the flop, 6-4, gets there on the turn. What are we beating? Realistically, an overplayed 8, which I doubt, I think that just calls, and an open-ended straight draw 6-7 on the flop. I go into the tank for a while, like maybe 2 minutes.
Man, that's a tough spot. Can I get a count? I actually don't think I'm good here. I don't get a good feeling.
Could he ever be bluffing here with, like, 2 clubs in his hand? I look down and see if I have a club. Shit, I do.
It's just gonna suck if you turn over like 9-8, you know? I feel like you have me.
I really didn't feel good about this hand. Then I'm like, I only have to call 104 to win 350 something. And that comment that he made is in the front of my mind. I just can't get it over. I level myself into calling, and we hear this.
You have 8 outs.
That's not what I wanted to hear. The opponent shows 5-3 for flop 2 pair. We need help. The river peels off the 5 of spades.
That's not one of them.
Moral of the story, when I feel like I'm behind, I probably am. Nice hand. Let's move on. Pocket 10s, under the gun +1. Under the gun limps. I raised it up to $15, and only under the gun calls. We go heads up to a flop, which comes pretty good. Jack 5-2 with 2 clubs. Under the gun checks it over to me, We have second pair on this board, and while we could get value from flush draws, it's also very possible that our opponent has a hand like Queen Jack or Jack 9, any hand containing a jack really. I'd rather just check this one back and evaluate what he does on the turn. So that's what I do, and we go off to a turn card, which comes a great one. It's the Jack of Diamonds, making it infinitely less likely that he has one. Now I feel very comfortable with my hand. So when he checks it to me again, I am certainly going to go for value. I bet $25. He doesn't think too long before making the call. River peels off the 9 of hearts. He checks it to me once more, and I think this is a spot where we can still go for value, targeting all hands like any club containing a 9, or middling pairs like 6s through 8s. I fire out $40. This time, he makes the fold. I'm happy with how we played this one, though. Here we have Ace-10 offsuit in the hijack. I feel like I've said this at least 6 times, but all of these hands I would be folding at 2-5. Low Jack makes it $12, and I 3-bet to 30. Only Low Jack makes the call, and we go heads up to a flop of Ace-6-3 Rainbow. He checks it to me. I c-bet $20, which I would do with 100% of my range, and he makes the call. Turn is the King of Clubs. This time when Low Jack checks to me, I am going to check it back for pot control. River peels off the King of Diamonds. This time the Low Jack leads for $27. Hands like King Queen, King Jack should just be a fold pre-flop, and even if they call, they're just going to fold on the flop.
So I don't think he has a king, which means what is he representing here?
If he has a stronger ace, so be it. I snap call. We end up beating 7-6 of hearts that he tried turning into a bluff. I respect the effort, but even if he was going like $100, I think today I'm just going to be a calling station and give him the money. The crazy part about this session is I probably played like 60 hands, maybe more. When I actually pick up a premium, I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, I don't have to force my way into a victory here. This is great. For instance, I picked up pocket kings in back-to-back hands.
This video is already 25 minutes long, so I don't really care to tell you about everything. We bet, people called, we bet the flop, and they did something. I blinked and we had more chips in front of me. Then the very next orbit, we did it again, and I was like, hey, I liked the result of last time, let's try to do that again. And so we put chips in the middle, blinked twice, and the dealer pushed everything my way. Shit happens, I don't know what to tell you. We have pocket kings, we win pots, that's all you need to know. If you learned anything today, it's get premiums, win money. Thanks for watching.
We were in the game for 300, out for 1068, which is a profit of $768. We played for 4 hours. That's a good session. See you next time.